So a couple of days ago, Disney, through their various panels, mostly their DuckTales panel, dropped a huge bombshell on everybody. And that was the fact that come season 3, which is already in the works, we will be getting basically a DAEU. That's short for Disney Afternoon Extended Universe. We will be getting it officially. Because according to what has been shown, we will not only be getting the long-awaited, rumored, and official debut of Gosylan into the DuckTales universe, along with Taurus Bulbar, who was the first antagonist to Darkwing Duck, to kind of fill out that circle, but we will also be getting Talespin, Goof Troop, and what I was hoping for, and I think we all were hoping for it, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. But as I mentioned in my one video, here is the catch on some of these. Goof Troop, as of right now, is represented just by Goofy in his Goof Troop design. Talespin is represented not by Baloo and not by Rebecca Cunningham, but by Kit Cloudkicker and Molly Cunningham, grown up. Yes, Molly Cunningham and Kit Cloudkicker are grown up, and they're the ones, I guess, running the show now. And we'll probably find out more about how this all came to be when that episode comes around. We also know about the Rescue Rangers. Now, according to a fellow YouTuber and friend of mine online, some of this happens due to various reasons. Some of the reasons, according to my fellow YouTuber and friend online, is Donald is friends with Goofy, so that's why Goofy comes into play. The Wuzzles come from a land or an island from a different part of the world. Oh yeah, they will be there too. And Scrooge reads the newspaper, and there's an ad for the Rescue Rangers. That's what my online friend and colleague here on YouTube, Facebook, and social media mentions. Now, the Wuzzles, I did forget to mention them, but they're not in the poster because, as I said in my first video talking about this, they are represented in an extreme feral-like way. I mean, you want to talk about a drastic change from what they originally were. Boy, just check out my first video talking about this. There is a drastic change, no doubt about it. How Donald's friendship with Goofy and how that brings him in is going to be a little surprising. If that is the case, again, this is information I'm getting from my friend. And the Rescue Rangers being acknowledged in a newspaper with an ad, that kind of might tell us exactly where their future or what they're currently doing. Because last time I know, depending on the interpretation of Rescue Rangers, never once did they have to put out the services out there in a newspaper. Mostly the animal kingdom, if you will, below the humans, knew about them, but that was about it. So we'll see exactly what happens here. We'll see exactly what occurs, but here's the thing about this. It does raise a few questions. One, what is going to be bringing, as I asked at the end of the other video, what is going to be bringing all these characters together? Are they just going to be one-off appearances, or is there something more to it? And secondly, is this a hint of things to come? Because everybody's been hoping that since DuckTales, the 2017 reboot, has become a success, that other shows would follow suit. Like, will we finally get a Darkwing Duck spinoff now that Gosylan is going to be implemented into the story, along with Taurus Bulbar? There's a strong possibility that's going to be next on the list. But then what about Talespin and Rescue Rangers? Will they too get separate shows, reboots if you will, to take place alongside DuckTales? I would love to see it. It'd basically be Disney Afternoon for a whole new universe, or a whole new generation. And what makes it unique is you could actually have these shows cross over with each other, not just with one show, not just because of one show, no, but you can have them cross over with each other. You could have the DuckTales crew, some members of them, show up in Darkwing Duck. You could have Darkwing Duck show up in Rescue Rangers or Talespin, and Rescue Rangers showing up in basically you'd have opportunity knocking at your door. That's what you would be having. And the opportunity is there. So you got to wonder if this third season of DuckTales, the reboot and everything, is the beginning of something bigger. But the other question that remains is, how do we get to certain points of bringing these characters in? Like, somebody said to me that they feel that the season 2 finale is going to deal with time travel. And that's a good possibility. That's been hinted at. But will time travel play a part in season 3? We don't know. For example, there will be various questions asked. Like, with Talespin, one's got to wonder, how does Kit and Molly succeed Baloo and Rebecca? Do Baloo and Rebecca get together and they decide, you know what, we're going to hand off control of the business to Kit and Molly and, see what happens? Some people have speculated that Molly is now a stunt woman or the star of her own show. Most importantly, maybe she's the danger woman she's been wanting to be. We don't know. Kit, on the other hand, is a surprise. Like, no one expected, well, everybody expected Kit to grow up, but the thing is, what role will he play? It's like, how does he become a pilot of the Sea Duck, if he does? See, a lot of questions have to be answered. I mean, we knew we were probably going to get the Talespin characters due to the fact that we have Don Carnage. So it was only likely we'd be getting them. But the question is, what, do we find out anything about what's happened at Higher for Hire in St. Canard? Not St. Canard, but Cape Suzette. Sorry, Cape Suzette. Do we find out what happened? And then when you get to the Rescue Rangers, my friend said that, Scrooge finds out about them in an ad. Have they got, the question is, will the story revolve around, their debut, I should say, revolve around them basically being down on, well, I wouldn't say down on the luck, but not having much to do as far as cases go. Like, do they need to find work? Because if they're going to exist in this world, yeah, they need work. But, how does this come to be? How do they get to a point that instead of looking them up in a newspaper, you're just like, okay, we need the Rescue Rangers. So the question, so that again, that raises the question of, how do the Rescue Rangers come into play? Why are they advertised in a newspaper? What's going on? And again, Talespin-wise, it's opening the door. It opens the door to the questions of how does Kit and Molly play into the roles of being grown up and possibly taking charge of Higher for Hire, what's going on. How do the Wuzzles get discovered in this feral incarnation of them? Just a bunch of questions. Hopefully when the third season gets around and the appearance of these characters come around, we will finally get those answers, because right now we're just speculating. I'm sure anybody that was at the panel or watched it live online somehow have an idea of how they're going to show up, but none of us got the full scope. None of us have this full scope about how these characters are going to debut, what's been going on with them. Neither. And here's the other thing too. We already have a reference to the gummy bears, so you got to wonder if time travel is going to be playing a role. And there's a hint that Scrooge might be immortal or something like that. Will we see an official on-screen debut of the gummy bears? Just because we see Rangers, Rescue Rangers, and Talespin, and all that, the question remains, will we see other Disney Afternoon characters they're not telling us about because they want to keep that as a surprise? We already got reference and acknowledgement of the gummy bears being guardians of a secret formula and stuff centuries ago. But will they make an official, real on-screen appearance? That's the question. You see, Season 3 is definitely... there's a lot of questions that, even though it's great to see the fact that we're getting all our favorite Disney Afternoon shows coming into play, the questions remain. What brings them together? Is there some big threat that's happening? And basically, how do they get involved? How do they come into play? What's the backstory? What's been going on with them? Stuff like that. And these are questions that hopefully will be answered. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I mentioned Gosylan earlier. The question is, how does she come into play into Darkwing's life? How does Taurus Bulbar come into play as an antagonist? A lot has to be answered here. And you know what? Season 3 is going to be chock. And guarantee you, Season 3 is going to be chock so full of answers, unexpected and expected, surprising, whatever, that I think our senses are going to be blown. And like I said, I don't think this is just it. I think, honestly, we're going to see more Disney Afternoon characters. We will probably see, finally, a physical on-screen debut of the Gummy Bears. Even if it's in flashback. We will see it. We will see them bouncing here and there and everywhere in action. So there's that possibility. That door is opened. But you know what? Somebody brought up to me the fact that it opens the door for a lot of other things. It really does. There's one show that I'd be surprised if they did open the door for it to show up. Bonkers. Yeah. Think about it. We have Goof Troop. We have Talespin. Well, we have Goof Troop represented by Goofy. We have Talespin represented by Kit and Molly. Grown up. We have the Rescue Rangers. We have Gosylan coming in, so we have Darkwing Duck taken care of. We've had a reference to the Gummy Bears, probably hinting at an appearance by them down the line, maybe in the third season. So honestly, it would be, to me, an opportunity wasted if they didn't include Bonkers. Because think about it this way. Rescue Rangers is supposed to take place in the human world as far as animation goes, right? Here, they're not doing that. Here, they're going by what they did sometimes later on in the Disney Adventures, setting them in the same universe as DuckTales with the anthropomorphic characters. Bonkers could be done the same way. Bonkers, Jitters, Fawn, Grumbles, bring them in. Possibilities are endless. Possibilities are endless. And I'm not just saying that because I would like to see it. It's just the fact of the matter, the door has been open. But that's possibly in a season 4, if they get renewed for season 4, that we might see Bonkers. And we might even see more of Goof Troop for all we know. We might see Peg and Pete and Max and PJ, maybe even Roxanne. Some say we already saw Roxanne because she's in the show as a reporter. I don't think so. I think that was just someone that looked like her. To me, Roxanne is going to show up. Stacy will show up. Bobby will show up. The door is opened. But the question remains, if they're renewed for season 4, will they show up in that season? And I think they will. I think they will. And you know, you got Goofy showing up. You potentially got the rest of the Goof Troop cast showing up along with him. Possibly in a season 4 if that happens. Along with the possibility of finally getting Bonkers in them. But you know what? There are other obscure Disney properties that could probably get a shot too. Think of this. There was a proposed Disney show that was supposed to happen back in the mid-'80s. It had a 1-hour special, and that was it. Can you guess what it was? I'll tell you. Fluffy Dogs. Imagine that coming into play. That door is open too. The door is open, ladies and gentlemen, and it is no lie about the potential that is there. I mean, if we are getting Rangers, Talespin, you know, the rest of the Darkwing cast, the Genie from the DuckTales movie in the 3rd season, amongst that, we're getting a younger version. It looks like, according to the poster, a younger version of Gizmo Duck, Fenton Crackshell's mama. Basically, I guess, taking the idea from Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home by having a younger version of a character that's supposed to be older. Again, the possibilities are endless. And now you're also incorporating Daisy Duck into it with her 1964 design from Donald's Diary short. Heck, you're opening the door, guess what? You're opening the door for Mickey and Minnie too. That's not a lie. That is not a lie. You're opening the door for them. And that would be huge. That itself could be huge. But the question is, will it all happen? We don't know. Season 3 has opened the door, but will it remain open for season 4? Well, we could see the rest of the Goof Troop cast. Could we see Bonkers and his friends Fondier, Jitters, Grumbles, Fall Apart show up? You know, the possibilities are endless. Could we see the rest of the Talespin cast, like Baloo and Rebecca? Who knows? Possibilities are endless. Could we see the on-screen debut of the Gummy Bears, not just in reference of story mode, but in full-fledged animated form? Could we see more of the Wuzzles in extreme feral form? Again, the possibilities are there. DuckTales 2017, Season 3, which is going to be in 2020, has opened the floodgates. The question is, will they remain open or will they be shut? We'll have to wait and see. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think brought all the what do you think is the reasoning all these characters of the DAEU, the Disney Afternoon Extended Universe? What do you think is bringing them all together? Do you think they're all going to be one-shots? Or do you think there's a reasoning? Do you think there's a bigger story involved? Also, what do you think we'll find out would be the outcomes, the reasonings as to why Kit and Molly of Talespin are the only ones that are going to make the call? Why do you think the Rescue Rangers are advertising themselves in newspapers now? Do you think, how does Goofy play into the role, into the scenario? Also, do you think we'll see more of the gummy bears? Do you think we'll learn more about this version of the Land of Wuz? And why the characters are so feral and extreme? And also, do you think we'll get a season 4? And do you think the DAEU, the Disney Afternoon Extended Universe, will be extended even more so to include the likes of the Bonkers cast, the rest of the Goof Troop team, the rest of Talespin? What do you guys think? Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you on this scenario. But ladies and gentlemen, DuckTales Season 3 has opened the floodgates. And let's see if they remain open. Open, if you will. Talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.